Welcome back to another episode of the House of Aquarius podcast. It's your boy, your favorite Aquarius here. Make a wish. About to bring you another one. So let me tell you what, right? Let me apologize to my subscriber. Because unfortunately the last one I did actually was the one that they had asked me to do. So I apologize for that. I did the reverse of the reverse. So if you want to listen to the reverse, just go check it out. I'll probably put it right there or wherever those are words inside. I don't know, whatever. My point being though, let me quick redo this one because it was actually the wrong one. I'm sorry. So today we are actually doing the correct one. Aquarius male, Gemini female. All right, love talks are in the building, right? So, love talk. So, like I said, it's a quick little synopsis. The thing about this one is, this one isn't too drastically different. Flipping around from the male version to the female version, not too drastically different. There's some slight changes, but we'll go over those. So first thing first, we have the two air signs? Same signs. Same, what's the term? I forgot the term. Quadruplicity? That's the threes, the fours. The threes, the fours. Triplicities. There you go. That's one. Both being air signs, right? So one, that means they're both masculine signs. We're not talking about gender. We're talking strictly about how they express themselves. All right. And the expression is more extroverted and more dynamic, I guess. More outgoing and more expressive on the outside compared to the reverse, the feminine signs. Okay, we have a fixed sign with the Aquarius and mutable sign with the Gemini female. I'm so sorry about this though. And that being said, what? Fixed sign said both air signs. Air signs are more, what's that called? Receptive to being less emotional. So like I said, a lot of the same traits are going to be reminiscent here. Just the difference is the masculine, the male and the female flow dynamics. So this here, the biggest change here is going to be who was last time? Gemini? The Gemini female? It was Gemini male last time. All right, yeah. So this time, man, I am so thoroughly messed up this part. The Gemini male, think about the reverse. Aquarius male, Gemini female. Okay. So this time here, the Gemini female would be the one looking in regards to looking for the stability, wanting to actually settle down and be the family thing. Because unfortunately, we cannot get away from the fact that there are gender roles. And because and especially American society, cultures are, genders prevail. Genders tend to be more dominant from how we're trained in our society to be a certain kind of way. So men tend to be more the providers, okay, air quotes in theory, and women tend to be the ones that are more looking for their family and settle down and to nurture and take care of that, okay? And that being the case in the situation, that's the biggest difference here. Because this time, like I said, it's going to be the Gemini female is the one actually looking for this family to settle down and do more things that are more stabilizing. And the Aquarius male is going to be the one to be looking to do more outlandish things, that are going to be doing things that are going to be more risk-taking, okay? Looking to do more things, have a lot more ideas, trying to go here, go there, grow, or take more chances. That's how it is, okay? Best way to put it. I said, unless you find an Aquarius already settled down into their career or already in a standing situation, that's going to be the case where they have a lot of ideas they're trying to grow upon. And this is the reverse here. I say like Taurus, Cancer. They're the two signs I like to bring up immediately when it says about they want to settle down, get the stability first, and then branch out and do more things. That's not necessarily the case for Aquarius. Aquarius is kind of reverse. They want to branch out and do more things, and then try to settle down around that. That tends to be what the trend I tend to see. Okay, I'm more with Aquarius and Gemini males. Okay, so in the situation, like I said, it's gonna be likely the case. There's gonna be some conflict in regards to it, because like I said before, this is a coupling that actually is not necessarily a great coupling for financial stability, because like I said, this time the Gemini male, or sorry, the Aquarius male is going to be the one who has the ideas and will be trying to take risks and try to do more things. Not saying that they're not opposed to settling down, having a family, but it's the things that are going to be happening that are leading up into that point happening in the first place, you know? So in this situation, it's going to be up to the Gemini female to actually try to anchor the Aquarius male down, okay? And be a little more the stabilizing authoritative figure in the relationship if the Aquarius male is not at that point time in his life. So the older they are, the less likely it is to be taking the risks and chances that they're doing, okay? Less likely. Not saying that's not going to be the case. So, like I said, going into this situation financially, it could be up in the air. But aside from that part, just like with the reverse, this coupling is phenomenal for communication and having great times in regards to mental stimulation and actually keeping things very, very interesting. And I'm trying to find the right words to say to discern how this properly be out. It's like with the Aquarius male, see, that's the difference. One difference there in the situation is the fact that it's going to be more likely the Gemini male is going to be the one entertaining the Aquarius female with his thoughts, his mannerisms, and his charisma. Okay, and she's probably feeding off of that, going back and forth. In the situation here, it's probably going to be a stronger back and forth in regards to the Aquarius male is going to be saying these kind of things and doing these kind of things, and the Gemini female is going to be funneling back and forth, kind of like a ping pong table match, going back and forth, you know? That's how I foresee it mostly likely to be, because the Gemini female is going to be there talking to herself, but you still, I feel like the Aquarius male is going to be the one leading the charge in regard to the conversation, especially starting off, okay? Especially starting off, and maybe as time goes on, they become more acquainted, let's say 3 or 4 months into the situation, relationship or not, or just talking, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be more of a going back and forth, openly. That's one of the biggest things. Because Geminis are a talkative sign, and they love having their mind stimulated. And Aquarius is one always to be there to do so. So there's not gonna be a worry in that regards. One thing that I always like to, unfortunately have to attribute to the Gemini male is the fact that the boredom and not being mentally stimulated can lead to a potential of actually having a lot more boredom and straying away from the relationship itself. That's one thing that I have not seen thus far with Gemini females. Like I said, I guess this is because this is where the gender role thing comes into the situation. That situation, I have not seen that yet. I've not seen a very, very promiscuous Gemini female. For the most part, is always has been. I'm thinking out of talking about the people that I've encountered in my life in regards to this. It's always been the Gemini female has been very, 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 very loyal, and to the point of like I couldn't even tell they were Gemini because of the fact that they were so restrictive in talking to other people of other sex, namely men. Not saying necessarily just me itself, but the fact that people that I've noticed, because I just like to talk like that. Because, like I said, always being really, really loyal from what I've seen. And then they get burned. That's not funny, but that's always been the case. That I know is that their loyalty always end up getting them burned by the other person in the relationship, you know. But that's another small, sample size spectrum type situation there. But like I said, I forgot how I drug it off into that. But the fact of the matter is, this coupling is not something that I worry too much about. That's one thing too. Actually, I can foresee the stabilizing feature being a prominent thing in the Gemini female, because, like I said before, of all the air signs, Gemini is one that actually tends to be more on the controlling side. They like to get their way, and they're very smooth talkers to get their way a certain kind of way, you know. And unless it's painted in a nice, easily digestible earful package for the Aquarius male, it could be it causes a conflict. Because as I said before, as we already know, Aquarius is the sign who likes to be very quote-unquote rebellious or resistant to doing things. So anyone that's always come down as vindictive or controlling to an Aquarius, they're always gonna have issues. So like I said, unless they have a certain kind of situation where, excuse me, so I'm working my chair here, where everything is fully discussed openly beforehand, and the Gemini female is actually approaching the Aquarius male with the proper, correct terminology and verbiage to actually not make it seem as she's trying to control them, and everything's being done in a very reasonable way mentally for the Aquarius male. There actually will be a lot less situations in regards to conflict and control and that situation. I can see it actually being less of a controlling, problematic situation in the Aquarius male, Gemini female variation compared to the Gemini male, Aquarius female. Hope I didn't say something twice. But the least one, the one I'm talking about right now, Aquarius male, Gemini female, is the one that is less controlling from my personal perspective. Like I said, because the fact that we're talking about, you know, gender roles, the male being more dominant for the most part, that might be the case. And then in this situation here, like I said, they won't have too many issues going out, being talkative. Yeah, actually, the one thing I said right there too, like that's actually a big difference between these two variations, is that the Gemini male being the potentially get bored, open to other sexual things with other people, would think they're bored and saying that kind of stuff. I'm not saying that Aquarius male can't be, you know what I'm saying? It's just sunshine only here. Sunshine only here, okay? In this situation, the Aquarius male is less likely to be that situation, which I had mentioned before in my other episodes of Aquarius stuff, that Aquarius is a closet clinger. That's one thing that I like to not admit out loud. But it is what it is, because one thing about Aquarius is that when Aquarius actually finds, male or female, actually finds someone that they really do enjoy being around and really enjoy doing things with, or being similar mentally with, they get attached real easily. And then from there, it's a very, very strong sense of loyalty that's being imposed upon that person, because the fact that that's just, Aquarius always feels like people don't get them. So when they find someone that they feel gets them, they latch on like a cancer. Okay, that's how it is. So there's not going to be too many issues in regards to that coming from the situation here, unless there's more controlling negative situation. That's every relationship. Like I said before, if someone, male, female, no matter what sign, is not getting what they want out of a relationship from another person, it's more likely for them to find out someone else, especially if things are going bad or going sour, and then things diverge from each other, So, like I said here, that's not likely going to be a case, because I said they're both going out, doing their thing, doing talkative, blah, 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 blah. But the Gemini female is about the relationship and family bonding and keep things together, more so than the Aquarius male, like I said, the coupling. And the Aquarius male is stuck on her. So that's not going to be too much of an issue there. So them going out, doing things, having fun, blah, 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 not going to be too big of an issue. It's funny, I remember one of my comments before, someone mentioned about me making comments about the sexual tension and quality happening in relationships. Sun sign by themselves, it's really hard to actually talk about that. At least from my current perspective. I guess I might need more information to do that. But from what I hear though, Geminis are freaks and Aquarius are clouded freaks. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. I know what I do, but what I do may not be what everyone does. You know what I'm saying? So but yeah, I'll be getting to that right now. So like I said, financial issues could tend to be a problem here, depending on where they're at in the relationship. The communication and the excitement through the conversation is going to be a very exciting piece for both of these signs, because it's always going to be very interesting at all times, because Gemini knows a lot about a lot, Aquarius knows a lot about a lot, and those things just, like I said, ping pong back and forth off each other. This is one I was saying in the last one before, but this is one short term. This would be an amazingly immediate love situation because of the ability to communicate. Because the thing about air signs is that air signs are signs of zodiac who you really have to get them mentally to really get their attention. Not saying that there is no sense of physical attractiveness that need to be in place for that. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But for the most part, at least as from my experience too with Aquarius males, I can't say the same about females, is that Aquarius males tend to need to be mentally stimulated before they even think about sex with someone else. That's one thing I've been noticing, consistently, okay? Myself included. Don't get me wrong, I do think about sex too, but not to the point to where, if I talk to someone, I'm not, thinking sex. I'm thinking, you're stupid. You're boring. Or maybe that's actually a pretty good idea. I like to wish you back and forth information-wise, you know what I'm saying? With this conversation we're having. Interesting. And then that's coming into it later on. Yeah, it's funny, yeah. Quick side jargon. That's actually one of the issues that I have with my first son's mother, my Capricorn, which you listen back story back in the Aquarius Capricorn case study I did. That was a situation where we kept butting heads because she kept thinking that I was thinking things about her or other people in a sexual context when the thoughts weren't even pop in my head whatsoever. So I actually battled with that a lot of times with people for a long time. Not until I got older, my age, to actually really get past that lack of thinking. You know what I'm saying? And even still, I still don't think too heavily about that. The way to Aquarius man's heart is through his head. Not his stomach, not his penis. Not through his eyeballs, through his head. Okay? So that was one thing there. So in regards to this, for the most part, this is going to be a very strong coupling. Long term, I didn't say it, but the last one either. This long term, this is a very easily able to be long-term together in a relationship, simply because of the fact of the matter that they get easily talk things out, work through things, and come to some kind of conclusion that you both can agree upon. Hopefully, maybe, possibly, because one of the biggest things about long-term relationships is communication, and air signs have a strong ability to communicate very well with each other. So that is a possibility for that to be a long-lasting relationship. The only thing is, like I said before, but the potential money issues and how long they are in the relationship together. Gemini is able to be versatile and flexible with the Aquarius male. And the Aquarius male, as long as he's doing things within reason of not being too risk-taking to hurt the relationship and the family, is not going anywhere. So, good or bad, they're going to be in a long-term relationship for the most part, you know what I'm saying? That's a good thing. Or bad thing. What else? The controlling thing, I mentioned that. Along with the controlling thing, not too big of an issue. That shouldn't be that big of an issue in this relationship. I'm trying to think what else. Like I said, for the most part, these are very, very, very similar. Except for a few strong key points. Yeah. So I'm actually gonna cut off that part there. This is actually a very good thing. Hopefully this actually suffice to you. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments below, because I'd be more than glad to address them, because I feel like I got everything I could get off that in regards to this coupling, because it's very strong coupling, compatibility wise. So you're off to a good start if you are an Aquarius male and you find Gemini female, or vice versa. I'm gonna put in this one that I did both of them back to back by accident. Let's just throw it out there because it's actually a very good company no matter what. So with that being said, let me get myself out here and start get ready to record the other two things that I've been slacking on for the past 2 weeks. All right, so don't worry, guys. I got you down. Comments below. Any questions, comments, like, share, subscribe, all the good job and jazz. As always, my friends, stay classy. Be you. Make a wish. Out.